Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to Sims Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, today we're going to be reviewing We Are Legion from We Are Bob, Bobiverse. First of all, I love this book. We read this for the Fantasy Fanatics of Fort Lauderdale book club pick, and my old Starfleet uniform does not fit me. It was already snug to begin with. 2 kids later, of course it's a little too smug. You know, too snug. So, did not wear it. But I did wear this beautiful blue dress with my Starfleet officer badge, science officer here, and my silver elf ears because I did not have old Vulcan ears. But let's face it, Vulcans are just space elves. Let's just be real about that. Let's just be real and honest. I think my favorite part about this book was the pop culture references. And the reason being is I feel like pop culture references made a lot of the hard science a little bit more accessible, right? Because there's a lot of hard science in this book, and it's different hard science than Project Hail Mary hard science. You know, it's a little bit more theoretical, a little bit more, I mean, there's more physics involved. So it's one of those books where you just kind of read the science, and I mean, it's science fiction. A lot of what's in the book isn't necessarily plausible. I think my mom and her friends, who are all MIT students, I mean, my mother majored in Earth, Atmospheric, and Planetary Sciences, right? I think they would get, like, such a kick out of reading this book and just trying to, like, play about how to make some of this science, like, truly plausible within our lifetime. You know, but I don't think we're quite there yet. I will say, though, for a book that was written a decade ago, it has aged really, really frighteningly well as well, with the whole faith organization and applicable sciences, I think, and AI, honestly. I think that it was done in such a way that it has aged so well that you wouldn't imagine, oh yeah, this was written a decade ago. Like, no, not at all. Not at all. It's so relevant, you know. A lot of the discussions on religion, a lot of the discussions on religion's impact on politics and science, you know, the way society has changed and cultures have merged into their own new countries. It was really, really fascinating, really, really interesting to read about and to follow. But again, I think the pop culture references really, really helped make a lot of the science a little less scary and a little more accessible to the reader. It's a book you're just going to read to enjoy. But also, you can sit there and you can mull on this, like, if you had the choice to freeze your head and then upload your consciousness to a computer, would you do it? I probably would, just so that I could make sure that I read all the books that I want to read, if for no other reason. I just want to read my books and enjoy my books. That's all I want. The curse of a reader with a never-ending TBR, right? So I think I would do it, honestly. But then there's a lot of ethics with it. You know, is it really you? And I think that's a lot of the things that Bob is trying to determine. I am no longer Bob 1, but am I still Bob? You know, am I still the Bob who signed that contract? Like, what makes me Bob? How do I define myself as an individual? And you get to see that discussion come up more and more and more as he continues to clone his, you know, consciousness, you know, with Bill and Mario and Homer and Riker, just to name a few. And all of them are different versions of Bob, but they're not Bob, and they don't define themselves as Bob. They are also not Bob. Like, they are Bob, but they are not Bob. They're not the same. They have some of the same quirks and same aspects, but they've all branched off into their own identities that they're not like Bob 1 or Bob 2 or Bob 3. So there's a whole lot of discussion about what it means to make How do you define yourself? You know, how would you define yourself? If you were subconscious, you're just your subconsciousness. Do you define yourself by just your subconsciousness, or by all the little things that make you, all the little quirks? Like, apparently one of my new tics is I go do 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 randomly when I'm at work. And my friend Jeff, he's just like, I love that you do that. And I'm like, it used to be a different tune. I don't know when it switched. Like, I always knew I did like a tune, but I don't even remember what tune it used to be. But all I know is now it's Final Fantasy, because I love Final Fantasy. But what makes you you? What makes you yourself? And honestly, that's like a whole kind of discussion. Like, whoa, we're getting existential here. But it's a great discussion to have, and it was great to read, to see all these different versions of Bob, like, form their own personalities and no longer define themselves by being Bob. Also, Bob, they broke first contact. Rule of first contact, they broke it. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're not supposed to do that, Bob. Now they're gonna think you're gone, and what happens at the end? They're building a damn altar. And it's like, hail Bob, and it's like, oh, even Bob's like, oh, fuck. Didn't really want to be a god, because, Bob himself is not religious at all. He's an atheist. He doesn't believe in religion. So, what is happening with Bob? I just know that I liked the world building, but I will say there's a lot of going back and forth between the characters, right? And time dilation is a thing, and it exists in this book as well. But what was really interesting is the audiobook. The audiobook helped me a lot with keeping a lot of my facts straight, along with the map at the end. The little graph at the end about, like, where are all the Bobs and what are they doing in the timeline, what's happening at the same time. That was really, really helpful. I understand why it was at the back of the book, because otherwise it would have spoiled a lot. If you saw it at the beginning of the book, you'd been like, what the fuck is this? So, makes sense that it's at the back of the book. However, I think the audio book helped me absorb a lot of the information a little bit better. And it also helped me keep a lot of my facts straight, so I didn't have to, like, handwrite or annotate, because I'm not a handwriter or annotator. I'm really not. I don't like to do those things to my books. I just like to sit there and read my book and enjoy it. That's it. And then, thank you, next. That's it. But when it comes to book club, I like to do the immersive reading, because I feel like I retain the information a little bit deeper, I should say. Because I retain it no matter what. But it helps me have a deeper understanding of everything I'm reading. And especially a book like this, going back and forth between all the different Bobs, it helped me keep everything kind of straight. Now, whether or not it's going to happen in the next books, I don't know. We shall see. But I do think that immersive reading for this book is going to help everyone read it a little bit, I guess, easier. Just because it's a lot that happens, and there's a lot of hard science. Don't fixate on the science, just read it to enjoy it, is the most I can say. A lot of people in the book club tend to, and I get it, some of them hyper-fixated on the science and trying to make it plausible. It's like, don't do that. Don't mess with the physics. As someone who took AP physics, no, I took AP biology, honors physics, don't fixate on the physics, just don't do it. You're gonna ruin everything. You're gonna ruin your enjoyment. Just enjoy it for the ride that it is. But it's so philosophical, this book. I cannot stress that enough. Like, the book itself is very philosophical. Even with the first contact, there's the debate, do I interfere with the civilization? If I do not interfere with the civilization, they might die. And a lot of them show a lot of intellect. you know, making mechanics on their own without my help. So if I allow them to die, they will not flourish. But if I step in and become like their god, they will be allowed to flourish. Or won't they? See, there's a lot of philosophical debates that go on there as well. And then with Riker, there's a lot of philosophical debates like, am I still Bob? Are these really my descendants? Is this really my family here? Or not? There's so much to unpack with this book. I can't do it in like cohesively in a review, even looking at my notes. My notes are a mess in here. Like, me just trying to wrap my brain onto this page. You can barely read it because it's like all scratches and squiggles. All my pop cultural references: Star Wars, Simpsons, D&D, Monty Python, Star Trek. It was funny. I will say that it was really, really funny. So I mean, it was a really good book, and I'm just gonna stop there because there's as you saw in my notes, it's too much for me to unpack that I can't really do it. So if you want to have further discussions with me, please just leave the comments, and then I can just type away all crazy like, because it was such a really fun book, and now I'm really, really excited to see what's gonna happen in the rest of the series. Book 5 is coming out soon, so I'm excited about that. In any case, thank you all for tuning in to this nonsensical review. Is the best thing I can call it, nonsensical. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book loving friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.